I'm going to just say it, and people probably hate this, but you got to meditate. And by meditation, I think it's just quieting the mind, putting that ego in a separate little box outside of your head and just sitting and being still.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Because
It's hard.
that's where all the the messages come through. But why is it so
I
hard?
don't know why it's because my mind, for me, my mind doesn't shut the F up. It doesn't shut up.
Right, so you have to practice it.
And I try.
And you just gotta keep trying.
That's all. I know.
That's all it is.
I know.
Anything that would get you, and by meditation, maybe I should say, anything that will get you into your body
Mm.
and out of your head.
So thinking through, I have my goals. I have an idea of who I am, how I've gotten here, what I've done, where I kind of want to go. Now I know these two things, or I have a better idea of these two things. I'm going to go ahead and quiet myself, set some time and quiet and keep that as a practice, right? That should be an everyday practice for us anyway. But out of that meditation, what am I doing? Like, I always feel like I have to meditate I'm trying to meditate to understand A, B, and C. And I know that that's not the point of it. It's just to sometimes just shut up for a second. Like, shut up, head. Just shut up. Because my brain goes all over the place. And I start thinking of the rocks in the yard and why there's so many rocks in the yard. Legit just picked up like 70 rocks yesterday. I'm like, why are there so many rocks in my yard? But I start, even with this podcast that I just said that, like, what, there was no reason for me to talk about that. But so, like, meditation, what am I doing in the meditation, or what am I expecting out of that meditation to get me to manifestation?
Right. Well, I'm going to psychoanalyze you for one hot second. I am also not a psychotherapist. This is just what I am picking up on, what she's putting down. Your brain is trying to avoid stillness because it's not safe and you are trying to control.
Yeah, but always,
Always. Yeah. But I think the whole purpose of to just stilling the mind is to just create that space that you can have the control, or know that you have the control of just dropping into your body, creating stillness and creating space. Because then from that calmed, rest and digest, your parasympathetic nervous system is kicked in, you're in executive brain function because you're not in fight or flight. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You can kind of then be guided and or have those thoughts about why do I keep, picking this as a boss? Why do I keep picking this job? And then from that safe space, you can see the belief systems that you have about yourself. So then now these core limiting beliefs are what make you manifest this external world. So then it's going one by one, figuring out what those belief systems are. Do you believe it, and how you can let go of them and think differently. Right.
Right. So it's not necessarily, so here's the difference between, so what we're talking about in this manifestation space, it's not necessarily, let me back up. Manifestation and then setting resolution goals is totally different, because resolution is, I feel New Year comes, hey, I want to change this and I want to do this. And it's like, I'm going to write these down and boom, I'm going to just do them. And then you lose them. And it's not about that.
Do you know why those don't work?
Well, go ahead and share.
Because it's a habit and you didn't create neuroplasticity in your brain. So then that's the science of it.
Which is where I find, like, I was going to kind of go into and jump into like where manifestation is. You are working through those layers of breaking the old habits and breaking the old thought process and the old patterns to be able to build out the new ones.
Right. So, from a spiritual perspective, it's these aha moments and this enlightenment of, oh my God, I didn't know I was doing that. And then you're choosing to stop and you're going into your wounded child and you're doing all of this imagery and healing yourself. From a scientific brain standpoint, it's when you think a thought, there's a chemical, electrical reaction that happens in your brain and it's neuroplasticity. So then to like stop that, you can't think that thought anymore. And you have to train your brain to create a new pathway. That takes time. And so you might think that like, I'm going to go to the gym every day, New Year's resolution. I'm going to, eat better. I'm going to, take a walk every morning. And it only works for a couple of days because you haven't really built that neuroplasticity to make it normal, which then is embedded in your subconscious. So then you just do it every day. So now, if you have a limiting belief of I'm not worthy to have a fantastic partner, to have a great job, things like that, then you are going to keep producing that in your reality. When you heal that and then you tell yourself a different story is, no, I can have this job because I am very qualified. I'm smart. I can have this loving partner because I'm worthy of it. And you keep doing it and saying it and believing it. It's embedded into the subconscious. You've created the neuroplasticity. And then it's like, oh yeah, of course I got this job. Of course I have this partner. Do you see the different now?
Yeah.
It's different. It takes time because you have gray matter in your brain and you're literally creating new neural pathways.
Yeah.
And I think I read a book, and it's not for habits to be created. It doesn't necessarily like take 21 days. It just takes repetition and consistency to really embed it in there. So I don't think there's a defined amount of time. Like if I do this every day,
Which makes sense.
which is good. I mean, because we have a calendar that we kind of like 7 days a week, 30 something days a month. It helps. But I think it's like if you did it so many different times, like what we have 60,000 thoughts a day,
At least.
right? So for women, so if half of those or 3/4 of those are negative, what the heck you doing? No wonder why 3D is negative. But if you could just start filtering those out and creating a positive or not thinking the negative, then you're ahead of the game.
Love it.
Because now all of your thoughts will be pretty positive if you start changing all that.
Love that.
Because then you think differently.
Yeah.
Now you're a positive person. Cool. What are you thinking?
Pausing for a second.